Join Hans and Scotty from noon to 3 Wednesday. Tim Dolly Nissan, Southtown at 11155 South Jordan Gateway in South Jordan. Tim Dolly, home of the Forever Warranty. No change for a decade, PK. Kyle and Kalani and Kyle. Think we'll get them both the same year? Kind of the way we did 20 years ago when actually 3 jobs opened up at the same time, BYU, Utah, and Utah State?
You're asking me, will Kyle
retire? Yeah.
Oh, boy. I get that all the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he got it and said, hey, now's not the time to think about it. You need time to decompress. So it's out there.
I went down to St. George over the Thanksgiving holiday, and I got it there.
Yeah.
I went out and golfed. Gorgeous weather.
Better than here.
Yeah.
It was in the low 40s, and I was on 215 with the South Bell Road kind of turns east there at 6200, and I drove past Old Mill, and there was one guy walking off the back of the number 3 green, and he was walking, not with the pull cart. He had the bag over his shoulders, and it looked like he was by himself. And I didn't see anybody else on the course. I mean, I'm driving by on the freeway, but yeah, it wasn't really golf weather up here.
No, I was out Saturday in the 60s. And a father-son, BYU employee, Kelly. Hello, Kelly. You said you'd be listening. If you're listening, hello.
Hi, Kelly.
And the son, they asked me, are you retired? Pfft, no. Tired from what? That would require work. I don't work. I got a job, but this ain't work. And so they're, well, what do you do? I tell them, oh. Are you a producer? No. I'm the star of the show. Wow. We'll have to listen. And so I got that. I don't know if I got it from them, but I got it from other people over the weekend. And they asked me. I told him, I said, I'm getting tired of people asking me this. And, we've talked about it, and he's talked about it publicly, and I think I've come to the conclusion that it's best to just allow him to announce it. I have my feelings on it, but I'm hesitant to say it because then people take it like it's fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that. And I think that it's different, but like Kalani, it's just going to come down to what he decides, isn't it?
I see no reason why he doesn't retire.
I do. He doesn't want to.
But that's the ultimate reason.
I
mean, all the
other reasons line up.
That he has mentioned in his life.
I do.
And then I've literally had conversations with him about, I mean, I'm certainly not acting like I'm on the inner circle and I'm sitting at the dinner table discussing this with him. That's not the case. But in casual conversations, talking, you reach a point in life where that you start to think about those things, right? I'm there. And it seems like if he wants to, he should. And there's no question about it. If he wants to come back, come back. I think there's people at the U would like to see him step aside, go out on this high note, 10-2, nationally ranked. I would have loved to have seen them get another shot at BYU. I would have loved to see them get another shot at Texas Tech. I would love to see them get a shot at the playoff. I believe they could have a success in there. I think what Kyle Whittingham has done, he's proved it yet again, that this program is not Ohio State's of the world. There's very few that are there. Put them there. But then right below that, Utah, the University of Utah football program is in that category. So being second tier, that's not a negative. That's an overwhelming positive in my mind that I can say that. I wish I could say that about the Sun Devils, but I can't. Maybe in 5 years I will.
I was going to say, not yet, but they might be on their way.
Maybe so.
This
we'll
does
see.
look more promising than your other coaches. You don't.
But he has done that, and I can say that. And they were dominant this year. I mean, they didn't even have to have an A-type game to beat you. I mean,
that wasn't an A game at Kansas.
Yeah, I don't even know they wanted to be there And like it was miserable. No. It's Thanksgiving Day after, blah, blah, blah. But they went out and they got the job done and got out of there with what they were capable of doing. And they're 10-2 and they're really good. So I don't think he needed to restore the program because I don't think the program went away. I said that all during the offseason, that last year we understand why it happened and how it happened, but it wasn't like it was a pattern. The program was not on a downward trend. And if there was any doubt, he proved it again this year. It is not on a downward trend, not at all. They're a bona fide big-time program. So with all that, he turned 66 a couple weeks back. If he wants to step aside, great. He's got this ambassador deal that makes him close to $1 million, and he'd be good at that. He's great with people, and he can talk to them and find out what they're interested in and meet them at their level. He's an expert at that, and so he would be very good at the job, at the ambassador job, whatever that means. I don't know how clearly that defined is, and maybe he does, but I don't. And so if he wants to do that, do it, and he'll make the announcement in his time. He's got to let him know here by this week or next week, according to the contract. But here's what I will say. That doesn't mean that the university has to let the public know about it. And it could wait until, and you're talking about, I haven't paid a lick of attention on where anybody's going with the bowls. You have, and so you're saying Vegas is a likely possibility, and that's great. I think they play that December 31st, obviously at the Allegiant Stadium in Vegas, against what, an SEC team or Big Ten team? I think it's a Big Ten team.
I think it's Big Ten.
Yeah, right. And so that's at least a decent opponent name-wise anyway, and you can go off in the sunset at that point, and then they would have the announcement, or maybe they announce it now. That's not been his character. He said that as the last week of the season, here today, gone tomorrow. That's exactly what he wants. He wants no fuss, blah, blah, blah. And so I have my ideas of what he's going to do, but I think I'm just going to let him announce it on his time frame. I did that with Lavelle Edwards. I had gotten tipped off. He's not coming back. This is his last season. And I thought, he deserves his opportunity to make this announcement, and he did, and we know what happened there. And I think Kyle Whittingham is of the same stature as Lavelle Edwards. From the Utah perspective, not the BYU perspective, but the Utah perspective, what he's done here, at least he's in the discussion. If he's not even, he's in the discussion. And those types of what you would call legends, let's let them make the announcement rather than some blowhard coming out here and say, hey, he's going to announce his retirement and scoop him.
I get all of that, and I think that trying to scoop him would be dangerous, because it comes down to what does he want. And he's clearly close, or he wouldn't have given the answer he gave at the Big 12 Media Day. He doesn't say things, especially on this topic, lightly, but on many, he doesn't make a lot of rando comments although I guess he just made one, talking about what he's going to be wearing, sitting on the couch or not wearing.
I think anybody who's 66 is close.
Yeah, you're right. Just doing the math, they're close. But he was clearly emotionally, psychologically, mentally thought about it. I couldn't go out like that, referencing, last season. So now he's not. 10-2 felt completely different than that 5-7 thing.
Yeah, they were really good this year.
Yeah, and the two losses are the top 11 teams as we sit here right now. Awesome. And the loss to number 11 had 2 fourth-quarter lead changes in it. So that game went right down to the wire.
Right.
So it's just a question of what he wants to do.
It is a question of what he wants to do. And I think that, the discussion that I'd had with him a few years back is that when he hit 64, he literally told me this is a sobering age because that's the age my father passed. And so your mortality is like right in your face.
Yeah.
And he sees his children having children. And that's extremely important to be able to spend time with them and be present in their activities because Big Fred got robbed of that to a good degree.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen, and that was something that Big Fred wanted to do, as most guys would want to do, right? That makes sense. And that didn't happen. And now he has the opportunity. The health is there. Certainly the finances are in order. That's no big deal. I get this. What about you? What about you? Yeah, well, what are my finances? How am I going to be able to live? I freaking need the job, for one. But, he doesn't need that. Plus, he's got this other job that's going to pay him, what would take me years and years to make.
Yeah.
That he's going to make in one season or one year.
He's retiring. He's still going to have a job, and he's still going to be paid handsomely.
Right. But he does have things that he wants to do. And it's a question.
And the funny thing is him, and this is another thing that he's got to consider. Well, it's another thing he could consider. Another thing I expect he probably considers, but I don't know that he would have to consider it, is that in most places, in most jobs, for most people, you would say, well, I'm going to retire. I'm going to spend more time with the family and all the quality of life things that you were just talking about. But the fact is, and you really only need to go to one home game to see this, the fact is his extended family gets a lot of joy out of him still working.
No question.
There's something they will lose when he stops.
Yeah.
And
it's got to end.
It's got to end, right? But it does. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a part of him thinking, yes, I want to spend more time with you, but he's plenty smart enough to turn one way and see everybody there having a great time.
Yeah. But I think they've come to the realization.
It will end.
You know, I had something that a couple of weeks ago. It ended at like 18 years for me. It ended, and I'm sad that it ended, but it had to end, and I always wanted to do it, and I think I showed I could do it and be effective at it and be good at it, and it's over now, and Sundays, it's weird for me not to have to go somewhere, not to have to go downtown, but it was going to have to end at some point, and ironically, the dude who always looks at the half empty is taking the idea, the mindset of, man, just be glad that it really happened rather than it's over.
That kid.
Because it had to end.
Wow, this is massive personal growth for you. Seriously. Good work.
And maybe that's something that is, I don't want to say the disappointment. It wasn't like my livelihood depended on it, but it was all sorts of fun.
Yeah.
And I did it for so long, and it became a slice of identity. So I think his family, you're sad, sure. If you love something and it's not there anymore, you're going to be sad. But you have to weigh the positives, the negatives, and it's got to end at some point here. And I think when he announces it, he'll feel really good about it, knowing that he accomplished so much, and away you go.
When he announces it, or when he tells someone to send out a press release and he gets on an airplane and goes somewhere he wants
to the U of U.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be any big press conference. He's not going to sit up there and blubber.
So when he talks to Mark Harlan.
Yeah, and then, okay, how do you want to handle this?
Have them send out a release. I'm getting on a plane to somewhere warm.
I know where he's got property.
Yeah.
And
it's warm.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up next, Bronco Mendenhall joins us. That couldn't be what he wanted out of the second half of that game. We'll talk with him about that and the bowl possibilities for Utah State going forward. Bronco Mendenhall coming up next. Stay with us.
Whirls around and down.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone is your exclusive home of the Utah Jazz. And we want to send you to the Delta Center to see the Jazz in action. Listen every Tuesday for the Jazz Ticket Tuesday Sounder at 30 past the hour, every hour, all day long. And if you're caller number 12, you'll be on your way to an upcoming game.
Buy one, you'll get one free.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, every Tuesday throughout the NBA season on your radio home for the Utah Jazz. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Get the best blankets and gifts ever and save 50% this season with promo code ZONE50. Shop online at MickeyCouture.com or visit any of their 6 locations. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up, top of the hour, we're going to talk with Shehan Jayaraja, CBS Sports National College Football writer. Talk with him about Kalani Sitake. Will he or won't he? What has he heard? What does he know? Penn State taking a lot longer to hire a coach than everybody else. We'll talk with Shehan about that and also about the Big 12 title game coming up Saturday. That's at 9:05 when Shehan joins us. Bronco Mendenhall will join us here momentarily. Tons of football today, PK, which is prevented us from talking about the Utah Jazz, which is probably just fine because that Jazz game was horrendous.
It was, yeah.
They got blown out by Houston. Same 2 teams again tonight. But back to football we go We are joined now by Bronco Mendenhall, BYU head coach. Excuse me, I knew I'd do that. All year I made it through, and then I do it right here. Utah State football coach, Bronco Mendenhall. Sorry about that, Bronco.
I claim that as well. That was a long part of my career. So
there you go. Okay. Old habits die hard. We were talking about this after the BYU-Utah game. Kyle Whittingham went for it on fourth down, and BYU got a couple of big stops, and it ended up being a 3-point game. And sure enough, Boise State-Utah State is a 1-point game, and Boise State gets a couple of big fourth down stops against you guys. And so the question, I guess, is why turn the ball over on downs twice in the fourth quarter? Once you could have kicked a field goal, once you could have punted it. What was your thinking? Because those were clearly two big plays.
Yeah, they were giant plays for sure. 4th and 2 with momentum early in the game. And there's always a pretty simple process. I kind of go off intuition, what I think, check with our offensive coordinators, see what he thinks, and then we go off the statistical book as well that we have. Everyone kind of has the book of analytics, right? And in both cases, that was, encouraged. So kind of triangulated it. And quite frankly, with Bryson Barnes, 4th and 2 and 4th and 6 inches, both seemed really likely to me, and I thought would give us our best chance to win. Doesn't always work out like that.
How much has the role of analytics evolved during your coaching career, which is spanning 30 years now? Because it seems like we get these answers from head coaches almost to the point of universally that they do go with the analytics.
Yeah, I think it's expanded a lot. I'm probably 50%-ish, maybe a little bit less when it comes to the analytics, even though we all track it in-game. Sometimes, again, experience and just the flow of the game doesn't feel like it warrants the analytics. Other times, if there's indecision from a head coach, the analytics are so well established over, large sample sizes that they can be the default pretty easily. And so I think it has to be a mix of both.
Now, I have been told by prominent football coaches that if you think you know more than the people who do the analytics, you're wrong. But the thing I factor in that maybe they don't is that when you went for it early in the fourth quarter, you were up 5 at that point. It's 24-19. You kick a field goal and you go up 8. And John Madden said a long time ago, I don't second guess, I first guess. So I'm sitting there on the sofa watching this thing, and what'll Bronco do? And I'm thinking, he's a defensive coach. If he goes up 8, he knows not only do they need a drive, it can't be a field goal. They got to put it in the end zone. And then even when they do, they got to go for 2, and we got another chance to stop them. So I thought you were going to kick it. Do you factor that in as far as, hey, it's not 7, it's 8, and that gives us an extra chance to stop them before they tie the game?
Oh, sure. All of that's considered along the way, and we stopped them for 2 2-point plays throughout the course of the game. So there's certainly ways to go back and say, man, anytime, especially if you don't win, or if you don't win by 1 or 2, and there was a chance for a field goal, easy to go right to that one play and that one decision, which I'm responsible for. As we both know, we all know, there's a handful of plays in every game, and those are visible. They're not the only ones. But yeah, for sure, and especially as a defensive coach, I weigh all that.
As far as what you're looking at as your responsibilities now, you'll have a little bit of time before the bowl game, and that'll get announced and all that stuff. What is on your agenda, you personally, to what you're going to be doing in terms of immediacy?
So our roster recruitment and getting ready for early signing date, right, which is this upcoming Wednesday, and then is the portal. So taking care of our current roster, making sure that's in the best shape as possible, right, and then looking at the roster from a high school perspective as well as a portal perspective, and that'll be taking a lot of the time. And then we've had a couple bye weeks, so then updating the analytics that have happened since the last game till now. And then, right, looking at program design moving forward. So based on what game we'll play, we won't know until Sunday, but we'll have a week of time to be targeting those things.
I think everybody wishes it was different, but we've heard from so many coaches now. It doesn't matter if it's football, if it's basketball, whatever, the transfer portal stuff. If it's not a school contacting your players, it's third parties, high school coach, friend of the family, agent, whatever. How many of those decisions do you think you could accurately predict right now? How many of those decisions still have to be made? How much do you know what's going on while it's going on, and how much are you flying blind?
I think there's some idea, but never a complete idea. I don't know what percentage it would be. After the game against Fresno State, or before the game, I was talking with their coach briefly, and he referred to November as the whisper month, where players are whispering. He said it used to just be where you were worried about coaches possibly leaving or being taken by other schools. Now it's your entire organization, and so pretty interesting term that he used. But it's throughout. We're really transparent with our players and vice versa, and I think we have fantastic relationships with them. I think we advise them well. I think they trust me in terms of their futures and their careers to give them sound advice. And so really it's hard to know for sure if there won't be a surprise or two. But I think the communication between our organization and team is really strong. So hopefully not many surprises.
There's a guy in the Big 12 who was in the Pac-12 at the time, Kenny Dillingham. He had a job where he's a young guy at ASU, and after the season ended, his first year in which they won 3 games and obviously were overmatched, he was rebuilding the program. They asked him, what is he going to do right now? What's on his agenda come Monday morning after the season ended on a Saturday? And he said one word. He said it 3 times. He said fundraise, fundraise, fundraise. How much does that factor into your job as a head coach?
It's more than I ever imagined, and it's become one of the primary responsibilities of the head coach. And, I've probably done more in the last couple of years just since returning to football than I did maybe the entire rest of the time combined. The landscape calls for it, the institutions call for it, and quite frankly, the market calls for it in terms of what the costs are to build a roster. And so there's just a real and bottom line cost to assembling your roster now, and there's no way around it. And so really encouraged by, the beginnings of this program, probably a missed field goal and a non-converted 4th down with 6 inches to go from being in the championship game where there's UNLV and Boise playing, which we played them both just recently. So,
right.
Man, margins are thin, right on the verge in year one, and just love my team.
When you have to fundraise, does that mean making calls and asking for money? Does that mean doing presentations to groups? Does that mean going to lunch with boosters and giving them a peek inside the program so they're more invested so they will write the check? What does that look like?
It's more of the second, too. It's a combination at my level of intimate settings and presentations with donors that are sincerely interested in the program, have the capacity, and then, quite frankly, they need to be armed with all the not only the philosophical, but the practical, the pragmatic, the direction of the program, the analytics, how it's going to be run, what have the past results been, what could be the return on investment, and then understanding the true costs of a college football team. So really it gets down to just the reality of what it is, how it's going to be done, and from the leader that will be doing it. And those are intimate and private settings in most cases, where the biggest yield, I would say, happens. There are other cases where it's larger groups, right, and you're sharing the vision and capturing hearts and minds and presenting information, which is also necessary and really fun. So it's all necessary, but it's more of the last two from your question.
This is a crazy business, and you know this as well as anybody. And this time of year, especially when you got 50 things coming and going every which way. And we know it as the coaching carousel season where we see guys leave and come. And you're a veteran guy now, and you've moved frequently to an extent. I'm wondering if somebody has a job and calls you and say, Bronco, you're an older guy, you've been through this. Can you give me some advice on, I've got this good job, but I have this opportunity to pursue another job. What do you think? What would you tell them as far as counsel?
Oh yeah, it's people, not the place. And there's the allure of level, and there's the allure of opportunity and finance, which are very real. And most player movement as well as coach movement comes for the exact same reason. and that's increased opportunity or level and finance. And so grown-ups and young people are making the same decision for the same reasons, regardless of what's said. I would caution, and I do give caution, if they love the town they're living in with the people that are there that they're working with, and man, their wage is more than comfortable. The quality of life and a sense of purpose matters, and I think there's a lot of mistakes that are made just for the sake of finance, as I've seen, witnessed, and just over the years been part of.
It seems like we see a lot of people in the first half of their head coaching career chasing the brass ring, trying to get to the penthouse. But it seems to me like there are a lot of coaches who've ridden the merry-go-round for a while, who are opting for jobs in the Mountain West and the MAC, and staying there a long time and having success. I couldn't even name all the WAC schools. You would be a recent example at Utah State. I think Wyoming and San Diego State over the years have benefited from that. UNLV may be benefiting from that right now to a certain degree. Fresno, I think, has benefited from that over time. Is that everything you just said and how it's played out and how it's been playing out in the profession now for 10 or 15 years?
I think it is, and I think it's a pretty astute recognition. And there's a really cool book that I read a few years ago as I was considering my choice at Virginia, and it's called The Second Mountain. And so many times the first mountain of our lives is defined as, the resume building and maybe the accolade chasing or the upward mobility. And then for most professionals, not only in the coaching world, then there's a pause in that or a sense of lack of fulfillment, maybe. And then there's the contemplation of what's the second mountain. And some people do the same thing they were doing professionally, just do it different. Other people have developed a hobby along the way that they're just passionate about. They then try to make into a business for the second part of their life, or they become more philanthropic or et cetera. That's a pretty typical cycle. And so I think what you're seeing is the guys like myself and others that you mentioned that are back. It's not only did they come back to something they love and had success at, but possibly for reasons even more profound than what they were doing before to find purpose. And going back to the question just for a second ago that you asked me the advice I would give, one other thing I always mention is, are they appreciated where they are? Does the administration and, quite frankly, the fans in the community and the alumni, are they appreciated where they are? And are folks happy and grateful that you're there? And what does that sense look like? So I always kind of advise that way also.
Well said. You've been in situations where you've turned down jobs while you've had jobs. I mean, we all know that. You've spoken about it a little.
Yep.
And obviously, you've had jobs and accepted other jobs, and you've done that multiple times. The level of, I don't know if agonize is the right word. Maybe difficulty is a better word. How difficult was it to turn down jobs? How difficult was it to accept jobs as you've gone through that process multiple times?
Yeah, much easier to turn down the jobs. And that's happened, really frequently. And I don't really like to talk about it.
Right.
And I think anyone that does, there's kind of a self-promotional tone to that or undercurrent, which I'm just not for. Way easier to do that. Accepting a job and leaving a team, excruciatingly difficult. And I won't ever forget standing in front of my team at BYU, standing in front of my team at Virginia, when I stepped away, and quite frankly, a year ago at New Mexico, and those three, I won't ever forget that. And I can't describe what that's like in terms of leading a group of people. It's very difficult.
I'm wondering, to tie all of this together, when you're fundraising, is the thing that is most motivating to the donor the look inside the program that they get from you, all the things that you talked about, but also, let's face it, everybody's into the winning and losing, which is crazy at times when you think about it. But I'm thinking, if you're going into a new league now in the Pac-12, And, the 5 of the teams you'll be familiar with because you're all moving as a group. But it looks like right now anything is possible. I'd be, they're teams with problems. I'd be surprised if you were 7th or 8th. But I don't know that much is going to separate 1st from 6th place in that league next year. And looking at the team you left, New Mexico, and when you went back to play, you told us so many coaches and players have changed. Somehow they pull off 9-3 and 6-2. So it seems like everything is on the table.
It is for sure. And going back to the first part of your question, for the investors, at least in our program, they want everything, as do I. And so this team currently academically is the highest performer in the history of Utah State University. We currently serve in the community at a higher level than any other Division I program in terms of hours. So that's number one. The sense of behavior in the community and the type of young people they're bringing, that's all foundational to the development of amazing citizens. However, right, championships are expected first by me, and winning at a really high rate is expected by me, more than anyone else can even imagine, right? And that has to be part of it also. So really, I'm presenting a program and have led programs that really want it all, and have had success doing that. And as I frame what those statistics are and share how it's done and why it's done and what's been done in the past, those that are aligned with that philosophy, they're the ones that end up becoming not only investors in our program, but really close friends in a lot of cases. And to your point, this league parity, and I've been mentioning that from the beginning of the season. It played out exactly like that, including for us as well as other teams. And if there's money, and we did a really nice job of generating funds at New Mexico in the first year I was there, which really helped finance the transformation of a roster. And so it's possible now, right, in a fairly short amount of time, if resources are in place, for the turnarounds to happen quicker, maybe than ever, just because of the portal and how that works.
You remember when you were at BYU and you got into the Vegas Bowl, sometime afterward you said, man, we got way more exposure because we're on ESPN than we ever got on something that was called The Mountain. Yeah. And my neighbor down the street, 4 houses down, big BYU fan, he couldn't freaking watch the games. And now you're playing on CBS on regular television there during the day. I'm wondering how much that has changed to the benefit of Utah State to have such great exposure that you get.
Oh, it's been awesome. And quite frankly, I haven't received a message or a text from anyone that just doesn't see, kind of the grit, the resilience, the culture, and a player too, right now separating us from a championship team in year one. And so the spread of that and the visibility of that and the commonality of what folks see is really helpful to the program and building our brand.
Well, Bronco, we appreciated having you on all this season as the bowl situation sorts itself out. We'd love to talk to you again. Good luck with recruiting in the portal and whatever staff changes you do or don't face.
All right. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it.
Yep. Bronco Mendenhall, there he is. A little peek into running a college football program right there and managing your career at the same time.
Yeah, he's been there.
The Second Mountain. Intriguing. I think I want to go find that book.
Yeah, and he's an intellectual guy, obviously, and he takes counsel from people who he has to respect you. That's the thing about Bronco Mendenhall. If you gain his respect, you are in, and that is a great acknowledgement that man respects you for what you do. And I've had that, knowing him for 20-some years now, to be able to say that, and it's really cool. And some real just overall a decent first season. It won't be a good second season if that's what they do. But they were just this close, man. You look at Vegas and Boise. They're the two teams that are going to be playing in Boise coming up, what, is it Friday?
Overtime and a 1-point loss.
Gosh.
And you're 2 games out away from you flip those 2 games, you knock them out of the mix, and you put yourself in a 3-way tie for first place.
You were this close.
Yeah.
Now you got to keep it going, though. You got to not only keep it going, you got to get better.
And anything can happen. I really do think 6 teams could win it next year. I'm counting 2 out, but who knows really in the transfer portal. I mean, they could do some kind of crazy. I think Texas State and Oregon State have a long way to go. But everybody else doesn't take much imagination at all to see them winning.
Yeah, I think, and I hope this for Washington State and Oregon State, that now that the dust has settled, they can begin a rebuild, because along the way they've had very decent, if not excellent, programs at times.
Yeah.
And they just got everything taken away from them. But I think they can at least be at this level, be pretty good. And I would suspect when we get to 3-4 years from now and we look back, it's like, okay, they reestablished themselves.
Washington State went 6-6. Oregon State went 2-10. They're having a coaching change.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
give them a little more time.
Right.
But if Washington State won it next year, I wouldn't be surprised.
I probably wouldn't either.
Yeah, not that far away, especially with the transfer.
But I mean,
portal.
the rosters are so much overhauled. No one really has any idea as we sit here who's going to be where in 1 month, let alone 6-7 months.
Yeah. I looked at the bowl protections for Utah State. First Responder Bowl in Dallas playing Texas State, according to one guy at ESPN. Another guy has him playing in the former Bahamas Bowl, which is now listed as Bowl TBD, site and date to be announced. Utah State, Missouri State.
That's conclusive.
That is not even close to conclusive. That is nowhere near conclusive. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's game week for the Cougars, and the KSL Sports Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. The Cougars are 1 win away from the college football playoff, and the only thing standing in their way is the Texas Tech Red Raiders in the Big 12 title game. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Cougar football. Then on Saturday, catch a special Big 12 title game edition of College Football Game Day beginning at 8 a.m. with a post-game show immediately following the game. Exclusive Big 12 title game coverage on The Zone is presented by JCW's, the Burger Boys. Quality and a lot of it. Your home for the best coverage of BYU football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. And now, your Rocky Mountain Chevy dealer strong play of the weekend.
Sean Williams in the game. Daniels, quick run, picked off. Pickett wasn't looking. Elijah Davis across midfield. He's got blockers. Davis cuts it across the length of the field for a pick six.
There's the Chevy Strong play of the game. Know it today after 3 o'clock. JJ and Alex call for it, and you can win fabulous prizes. Elijah Davis, 97 yards the other way.
Scooby-Doo. I think they call him Scooby, right?
Scooby Davis, yep.
Yeah, he's Scooby-Doo-Doo all the way down the field. It seemed like that was just a turnover waiting to happen, Utah's defense, and they got it. That play when the Broncos blitzed everybody on that 2-point conversion, that reminded me of Scally so much.
Bring the house.
Yeah, they do. They do. That's another thing that could factor into Kyle's retirement. As Scally, he's getting up there. Still got plenty of time, but for him, the time he wants it now. We'll see how that plays out.
No time to talk about the games today. There's so much going on. The game's so overshadowed by all this stuff.
I know. It's this time of year, though.
It is that time of year.
Yeah. We got to do the NFL things, you know. That block 2-point conversion saved me.
Saved your bacon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Man, I got bacon now.
You got bacon. You were going to be without bacon. The Broncos are going down. PK's taking it now.
But that's the NFL for you, man. That's why it is what it is.
Did anybody have the Rams? That was the one, because I honestly, if I don't write them down, I forget. Anybody have the Rams?
No, yeah, you had the Chargers.
I had the Chargers who beat the Raiders.
Correct.
As expected.
Yeah, as expected.
The Raiders are in
disarray. The quarterback
disarray.
broke his hand. He's going to play with it, like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
PK took the Denver Broncos and just got saved by Nick Bonito in that broken up 2-point conversion.
Lock of the week coming through.
And then I took the San Francisco 49ers to do what they did.
Yes, they did.
Make life miserable for Shedeur Sanders.
They done did what they did. Yes, they did. All right, there it is. So 3 more W's. Look at us go. Coming up next, Shahan Jayaraja. CBS Sports National College Football writer on the coaching carousel, the Big 12 title game, the college football playoff rankings. That's next. Stay with us.